Hey guys, we're back for another episode of Broom Closet Talks. So happy Leo season. It's Leo season. Yay.
Hello, everyone.
Hey. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. A reader's job is never done, so sorry about that interruption, folks. But as we were, it's Leo season. So today we're going to be talking about all the season has, what it has to offer for everyone. Our predictions for the season and so on and so forth. So yeah, so Brenda, last week you had asked the audience to give us suggestions on topics, right? So we actually did get some feedback on that. So a viewer asked us if we can do an episode talking more about astrology, right? And how we apply it to day-to-day life, right? Nice. So that was a request. So I was like, okay, well, we are going to do Leo season today. We are going to talk about astrology, of course. So how to apply it to day-to-day? That's a really good question, actually. So I would say how I apply it every day is looking at the moon cycles, right? Because we as human beings, we are, a third, 2/3 of our body is water.
Yeah.
So we have a very huge response to the moon cycles, just like, plants and all, wildlife have responses to, the sun and the moon. So do we, of course, we're organic beings. Mm-hmm. So the best way I would say to apply it day to day is to look at the moon cycles, right? Because that will tell you how you're going to function energetically, emotionally, even the actions you'll take. Like if it's full moon days tend to be very intense emotionally. You'll find that people are more irritable. People are a bit more odd during full moons, like they say the wild people come out at, during full moons, and it's so true. It really is. And when the moon is like waxing, when it's becoming full, you kind of sense more and more that your emotions are building and building and building. Whereas if it's waning, your emotions become less and less. They tend to dwindle more. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's the opposite effect, in other words. So, so keeping track of the moon cycles is really important, and seeing what signs they're in. An earth moon is really about grounding and having a practical approach to things, being at home, focusing on the your sacred space and your sacred circle, the people around you, your loved ones. So earth moons are really good. A good time and a grounding, a grounded time for us. Water moons are very emotional, very intuitive.
Yeah.
I would, going back to the earth moon, that would be a good time to plant. We were just, before we got on the air, we were literally talking about this. So a good time to plant seeds and start growing your garden, if that's something you've been considering, would be during an earth moon. So a Capricorn moon, a Taurus moon, or a Virgo moon. Well, actually, Virgo season is usually what they consider harvest season, or Indian summer. But essentially, during those earthy moons is a good time to start the process of growing, crops and things like that. So, and like I said,
if you're not sure, for those who are not sure, what phase the moon is in, or what even sign it's in, if you buy the Farmer's Almanac, it's dead on, precise with all
Oh,
the moon signs and the strangest thing too, because you would never think that the Farmer's Almanac would be tied to
that
astrology,
tells you something.
but it is. It is. So
If you notice in our group, the group attached to this channel, in the community group, I share things from the Farmer's Almanac all the time, right? I'm always putting up posts from the Farmer's Almanac, and they very much pay attention to the moon cycles again, because it has to do with the crops.
Right.
All right. So this is confirmation of what I'm saying, how the day-to-day process is very much focused on the moon.
Yeah.
And, you know, people would think it's the sun more than anything, right? Because we hear so much more about the sun, you know, your sun signs, and, you know, the sun is the highest, you know, point in the cosmos, or the center of the universe, so to speak. But it's actually the moon.
It's actually,
when it comes to the day-to-day, like the mundane, and, you know, it's the moon cycles. So the Farmer's Almanac it definitely tells you which moon, if it's a waxing moon, a gibbous moon, a crescent moon. But if you want to know like specifics on what sign, you could go to astrotheme.com. You could go to astro.com. We'll put the links down below for you guys, so don't worry about that. And there's also Cafe Astrology. You could type in the moon cycles and the transits, how the moon is being affected by, you know, transits. Again, I'll put all that information down below for everybody. So, but yeah, I think that is the best way, from my experience, to apply astrology every day, is to focus on the moon. I would say that's the easiest, the simplest way that I've been going about it for as long as I have. And and just, you know, correlating that with your own chart. Like, another thing, you have to know your UCI. What's the UCI? Your unique cosmic identity, your sun, moon, rising. You got to know those, because that is your map, right? That is your personal map, and that's how you will determine how the energies will affect you on a personal level, right? So once you got that in the bag, then you could, like, let's say the moon, I believe the moon right now is in Gemini. So let's say you have a sun, moon, or rising Gemini. So this moon is going to be very comfortable for you. You're going to be feeling very much in your element. You're going to find yourself emotionally driven to communicate, to be creative, to be expressive, because that's the third house, that's the Gemini house. So but air, you know, we talked about water and earth moons. So air moons are more about communication. They're more about stimuli, what stimulates them on a mental level. And they're not the easiest moons to deal with, especially if you're earth or water, because it's more mental rather than intuitive or practical. It's more about mental stimulation.
Right.
And sometimes, to be honest, your mind can play tricks on you. And when the moon's involved with air, that can occur, you know? So it's kind of that illusionary aspect to it, like the moon card in tarot.
Right.
You know, I always kind of correlate that with the air moon. You know, it's kind of that illusionary, you know, energy. And fire moons are fun. They're passionate. But people tend to become more irritable, quick to argue, quick-tempered. And you also tend to see, with fire moons, you tend to see more accidents, actually. You'll hear about a lot of accidents, especially, you know, with cars, like transportation accidents. Tends to happen in a fire moon, especially if it's opposite the sun, opposite Mercury, or opposite Mars, accidents.
Wow.
So yeah, so these are all things to look into when you look at the moon. Like I've been researching the moon for the longest time, and I feel like on mundane astrology, which is the day-to-day astrology, the moon is something to focus on.
So I'm going to ask this question because I'm sure that a lot of people are going to be interested in the same question that I'm going to ask now. Could you use that astrology aspect to see how your significant other plays out with their day-to-day? Can you use that?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Yeah, but it's wise to know their UCI. You got to know their sun, their moon, and rising.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
If you don't really have, if you don't have because a lot of people have trouble finding the rising sign, because you got to know your exact birth time to determine your ascendant or your rising. Find out their moon sign. And you don't need the birth time to find out somebody's moon. As long as you have their sun and their moon. And also the shadow of the moons is the north node and the south node, which are just as important. This is why I say the moon is so essential, because the north and the south node are the shadows of the moon. Okay, yeah. So that's karmic astrology. Karmic astrology is based on the north and the south node, or Rahu or Ketu in Vedic astrology. So that goes to show you how much of an important aspect the moon is in astrology. So yeah, absolutely. You could check on your loved ones, you could check on your partner. As long as you know their UCI, that would be even better, because you'll get even more specific. But if you don't know their rising sign, their sun and their moon, and their north node, which is usually called the true node in the birth chart. Like if you look, you see something saying true node. True node is the north node. It's just another word for it.
Excellent.
So yeah, I do my research every day. Like if I look up, I do it all the time. So I'm just telling you, yes, you most certainly can. And like I said, once you know that, if you know their UCI, you could definitely see, like, for example, like I said, the moon's in Gemini right now. Let's say your partner is, water, for instance, right? This energy would be what you call a quincunx, and it's uncomfortable for a water sign right now, because especially if the person is a Scorpio, because that's fixed. Gemini is mutable. So this energy is too wishy-washy for them, and it's frustrating. They're being called to be changeable and adaptable right now emotionally, and they're too stubborn and fixed. So yeah. you can see how the conflict is gonna affect them for the day, it's gonna transition over, because we're gonna have a new moon in Leo on Thursday. So yeah, so we're still in Gemini. We're gonna get into Cancer for a couple of days, and then we're gonna get into Leo for the new moon. So right now, once the moon shifts over to Cancer, a water sign will be much more comfortable with a fellow water sign. But like today and maybe tonight and tomorrow, it's not a good placement for a water sign. And that's just an example of how the energies play for the signs when it comes to the moon. And even, like I said, you could apply this to the workplace. As far as career-wise, this is not an easy day for water signs, because they're going to feel that they're having opposing input. Like people, when they try to express themselves at work, people are not going to be on the same page. People are not going to be understanding. People are not going to want to hear it.
Right.
Or they're going to have people talking them to death, because moon in Gemini, like I said, moon in Gemini makes people want to, just yap away. Water signs are not the most chatty of the signs, so they're going to be annoyed by just people buzzing in their ears, so yeah, so that's just an example. But to our viewer out there who requested, I hope this answers. Definitely look into the daily moon cycles and how they affect the transits. So yeah. So without further ado, let's get to Leo season and what's gonna go down. So Brenda, I know you've been channeling and you've been picking up a lot of stuff. So what do you see going down for the next couple of weeks with this season?
Definitely there is going to be more communication, action, aggressiveness towards anything political right now. Any decisions that we make as a society as a whole is going to be challenging. I want to say lots of protesting, arguments, career-wise, many changes, people changing jobs, changing shifts, changing positions. Money-wise, I see people getting tighter with their money. The spending is going to die down more as far as pleasure is concerned. So any pleasure is going to die down. People are now starting to tighten up a little bit more. Even though there has been a change with gas prices going down.
Yes. It's went down almost $1, right? Like
right.
In some places, yeah.
And remember that I told you that they would do something to make the gas prices drop, to change, people's attitudes towards things that are going on right now in our wonderful country. So I do see definitely more political outrage still. So there's still things that are not in play right now that benefit many. And when I say many, I mean middle income, minorities, you name it. House for the house setting, for the household. There's going to be more unity in the house. This for whatever reasons, Leo season is bringing closeness in partnerships. I feel like there's going to be business associates are going to, work together more closely. Friendships are going to be more inclined to connect more. Relationships, as far as lovers, are going to look for each other more as well. It's a season where action is going to take place to a better understanding of what's going on with each other. But like I said, it's quiet right now. So anything that's supposed to happen is not going to be for now. It's just building is what it is. But for the most part, the major changes I would say is would be the economy. The economy changes as things get tougher, because they're going to get tougher. People are going to dwindle down more on what they have and try to save that, like they're going to try to protect everything that they have, basically. And I think that's where people are going to, like in the house setting, people are going to start getting together. I want to say unite more and put like 2 heads are better than 1. 2 heads are, so we're going to get those major connections like that. And that's about it. That's all I can tell you right now.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. Oh, and I wanted to tell you, and I think I did. We talked off the air about the fact for the summer solstice episode.
Yeah.
You had mentioned later on in the summer there being an explosion. Remember that you kept seeing an explosion.
Yeah.
And it the bell and the bell goes off. Turns out there actually was an explosion. The Hoover Dam had several explosions over the weekend. And remember, I send you the article links to that and the news feature on it. So there was an explosion, and I mean they managed to
control
they salvaged, because that could have been catastrophic. Okay. If that was to, if it would have exploded and did major damage, that would have been a catastrophe. But luckily they were able to salvage it. But now they have to keep a close eye because it's liable to happen again. So yeah, so there definitely was an explosion. And guys, if you go back to previous episodes, there had been certain predictions that have came to pass. They really have. With flooding, you mentioned a lot of flooding. There has been a lot of rain this summer, a lot of tropical storms, and starting so early. So
erratic weather patterns. I believe I told you there will be erratic weather patterns for the next 7 months. And I was told that England is having a major heat wave, one of the worst ever.
I saw that. Yes.
And so these things, these downloads that I get, I'm very tuned in with God. And, for the most part, I asked for signs to help others. And in many ways, if I can, with whatever I receive, I try to put it out there for you guys, for everyone to watch. This is not to be a celebrity or to be praised or anything. This is purely a humanitarian work. I others as best as I can. So some things are out of context, some things I can't elaborate more on, because it's whatever I see, whatever I get. But whatever I can do to help others, that's what the mission is for. That's what we're here for, to help you guys out as best as we can. To show you that, there is a higher power that watches over us. And he has so many people that he uses to help in the process of life. In the process of life. Life does not end the way people think that it ends. Life continues. Life goes on. And it's all in the matter of, or in the principle of how we see it, how we accept it.
Right.
So the world's not coming to an end. These are cycles. And each cycle, yes, it tends to get stronger and harder, but it's also what we put out there. So the more advancements we have in technology, the more problems we cause with our atmosphere. We are electrically charged. Our atmosphere is electrically charged. And I'm not advertising Greenpeace or anything like that. I'm just, putting out there what's going on. So no, the world is coming to an end. It's just part of the process. And it's cycles. Every year there's going to be a new cycle.
Absolutely. So. And we mentioned that in our earlier in the summer solstice episode also, that this summer was going to be a lot of paradigm shifts. A lot of us stepping into a new frontier energetically, body, mind, and spirit, a lot of us. And from an astrological standpoint, you know, it's very much aligning with everything you're picking up, because you mentioned about relationships being at the forefront for this season. And Juno, which is an asteroid, Juno in astrology has to do with soulmate energy. And, you know, last week we talked about soulmates, twin flames, all that. And it's interesting that Juno is going retrograde. Okay. So,
wow.
yeah, Juno's going, yeah. And this happens every couple of years. It's not an often, it doesn't happen often, put it that way. It happens every couple of years. And when Juno goes retrograde, it is a time where we're going to really introspect and reevaluate our ideologies as far as soul connections and soulmates and twin flames. So I think right now, and it makes perfect sense what you picked up, that there's going to be a heavy focus on that. People are going to really start either becoming a believer in soul connections, or they're just gonna like, nah, I'm not a believer. You're gonna kind of see that sort of, I guess, extremist kind of fanatical approach. Some people are just gonna go really hard, and some people are just gonna be like, nah, I'm over it. I'm gonna move on from that. I don't want to. But what I see more happening, because it's Leo season, I feel collectively that it's going to trigger a passion to want to connect to people on a deeper level.
Right.
Because for the past couple of years, we're talking about, this is swipe left, swipe right culture right now, right? The
Yes.
dating scene is so fickle, right?
Yes.
People are, there's people want to just, date multiple people. People
right.
are not really focused, especially the younger generation, not so much ours, but the younger generations. They have a more open approach to the dating process. People are like I said, I mentioned this a couple episodes ago about people being open to, to open relationships or poly connections with multiple people.
Yes.
And yeah, and many people that are poly and that I've met can have like those really deep connections with multiple people. However, I feel with Juno retrograde, this is gonna really make you focus on what connections are deep and the ones that are lacking. I feel at this time people are going to really want to connect organically. And I think because of, what happened with COVID as well, and going into quarantine and, 6 feet apart, people being afraid to touch one another, that kind of
yes
caused right.
Yeah,
It caused a divide in organic
right.
relating.
See, okay, so there's the sexual physical aspect of a relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that, what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, right?
Right.
Right?
On a good night.
Right? And
that's like making a night of it. That's a good
10, 15 minutes. Anyway.
Right.
And then there's the other intimacy where it's just touch, holding, spooning.
Yeah.
That intimacy, people have forgotten.
Right.
People have forgotten. And you're absolutely right. This whole generation, this whole plastic generation, where it's more important for a woman to look like a video vixen as opposed to being a real woman and letting her husband or her boyfriend hold her right. Because men are intimidated to be held by these women right now, or even intimidated to hold these women because they're afraid to pop a breast, pop a boob.
Right.
They can't go.
They don't want to pop the plastic. It's true.
Yeah, they can't go too much further down because they need 6 months of healing. So
Brenda, was it, now that you're mentioning this, was it you that shared that video about women who went to DR for plastic surgery and mutilated their bodies in the process?
Yeah, they did.
Getting black market plastic surgery done?
Right. Happening everywhere, Colombia, Venezuela, anywhere where they can pay for it cheaply. And what happens is this: be happy and content with what God gave you. You were born with a natural beauty. And I'm gonna give you an eye opener. It only lasts for so long.
Right. You gotta constantly tweak and you gotta constantly retreat, repump. Yeah.
So if you're gonna age gracefully.
Yeah.
Don't where you're left behind looking like
Little Kim.
A perfect case. I didn't want to mention names, but yes.
And I'm a fan. I love her, but it really pains me to see how far gone she's gotten with the plastic surgery.
Because it becomes an addiction after a while.
It does. She's absolutely addicted. Yeah.
It's like people who have tattoos, they become addicted to get ink because one, the pain is pleasurable for them, for some people. The other thing is the concept of being able to draw and express yourself on your body, through art. And so people become addictive. So there's extremities, and this is where I wanted to get to. These women have become so addictive to themselves. And that's not self-love. That is not self-love. The minute you alter yourself to look good in the eyes of others, you're pleasing somebody else. You're not pleasing yourself. So
that's what most of the women in the video you shared, that's what most of the women said, that they wanted to uphold an image.
Right.
They wanted to be marketable. They wanted to, get jobs, whether as models, video vixens, dancers, and they had someone tell them, oh, you need to lose weight, or you need to be taller, or you need to fix your nose, or you need to put your ear back, or you need bigger lips, or you're too dark, you got to lighten your skin.
Here's the thing, you're getting advice from a person that has a type for themselves. You're not getting a poll from a whole group of men or women. You're getting it from one person. If you were to actually do a poll on yourself and you send it out to 100 people, every one of them is going to have something different to say about you.
It's true.
Because beauty isn't older. So here's where I come to this. Well, here's where I end all this. Do you prefer to look beautiful and by yourself for the rest of your freaking life? Because that's how it's going to be. You're going to be by yourself for the rest of your damn life. Because that beauty that you've put on is still not going to last. Everything. The only thing that stays the same is the damn silicone, and you got to change that shit out every 10 years.
You do. Yeah.
So do you prefer to stay by yourself for the rest of your life, looking beautiful, and when you die, the silicone is the only thing that's going to be left behind in the casket with your bones, and not even that turns into dust? Or do you prefer to have a lifetime until old age full of memories of someone loving you the right way, your family being able to enjoy you the right way, and having peace with yourself? And that's my question to you ladies out there.
Yeah. And this goes both ways, because men too want to, They want a six pack.
Yeah.
You know, they get hair plugs because they don't want to be bald, you know.
So my thing is this. Oh, I want to be unique. I don't want to be like everybody else. At this point, you are looking like everybody else.
Right. It's true.
You have the same shape that, and I'm going to mention it, that the Kardashians have removed.
Yeah.
Because everybody's starting to look like them.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. And again, you know, going back to how this relates collectively, and we were talking about the Juno retrograde, this is kind of gonna expose that superficiality, and
right.
people are getting tired of it.
Right, they are.
People are getting tired of flings, of superficiality, and are craving a more organic, you know, intimate connection. And I mean, even if it's not just romantic, it's just as a whole, people are craving human interaction, because this whole process we went through with COVID caused a separation and a divide. We couldn't interact or, you know, go out the way we are normally used to. You know what I mean? So now, you know, with this happening, it's not by accident that Juno goes retrograde, because Juno is going to get you to see which connections are superficial and which are, you know, actually, you know, authentically like intimate on a deep, you know, on a deep level. You know what I mean?
I'm sure that it's gonna be body, spirit, and mind, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because you know, and I'm realistic. Yes, if you're gonna connect with someone, all three have to work. All three have to work together. There is no, you know, we're great with our soul attachment and we think alike, but if that sex is not good, you're not gonna tell me that you honestly are gonna be okay with that. You know what I mean? So all of it has to connect.
Right.
But I do agree. You know, you just confirm for me even further that, you know, that we're going into a season where connections, as far as relationships are concerned, and not just romantically, you know, friendships, families, that's gonna also connect. It's gonna become, you know, it's gonna be greater. It's going to heal. That's the word that I'm looking for. There's gonna be a healing process. Connection is going to heal.
Yeah, and we're also going to see a very strong transit during the season as well. With that, you know, along with the Juno retrograde, we're going to see Uranus conjunct the North Node in Taurus at 18 degrees, which is very interesting because 18 degrees is really about, you know, how you see yourself and how you see others. Right. And with Taurus is, you know, Taurus is an earth sign. It's fixed earth. So I feel like this is going to be groundbreaking in the sense of people are suddenly going to see the wood for the trees, you know, as far as who they really are and how that reflects outwardly, if that makes sense. And it's going to be a sudden thing where people are just going to have like these eye-opening epiphanies and all of a sudden saying, you know what, I haven't been living in my truth for the longest time. Like I thought I was, but I'm really not. And you're going to see over time especially with this transit, like people are going to have a real change of perspective as far as where they are in their life paths. People are basically going to see that they've been faking the funk for the longest time.
Well,
you know,
they've been trying to keep up with culture.
Right.
Everyone's been trying to keep up with the culture trends. And the culture trend has turned us into, well, has turned most people, because I'm not part of that, but has turned most people into androids,
yeah, like drones, just like
yeah,
mindless drones, and people are just following the trends.
yeah, there's no feelings, there's no, everything is about numbers, so as many you get, as many views as you get, then that makes you the ultimate, likable bitch. But it's like, okay, likable bitch, how are you really like behind closed doors when the camera's not around? Are you really great?
Yeah.
Because that are just great at, faking it.
And that's exactly right, because, and also a thing, and that's hitting the nail right on the head, Brenda, because that's the thing. Because Taurus rules the second house. Of course, that's the money house. That's your financial house, granted. But it also has to do with your self-worth. People are going to be realizing that they were faking the funk and that they're in situations that they don't deserve. And it was kind of a prison of their own making. They're going to realize that the common denominator was their own fault, that they settled for something that is not what they want. And I mean, and this could be anything. This could be work-wise. This could be in a relationship. This can even be a friendship when you realize, the friendship is one-sided, or, what I mean? You're going to realize that you've settled for something that you did not want. Mm-hmm. And for a lot of people, that could be daunting, like, especially if it's people who've been married for years and all of a sudden realize that they've been faking the funk in a marriage they never wanted to be in.
I'm also getting that there's going to be people that are going to stop posting their personal stuff online. That's going to start dwindling. It's going to start diminishing little by little, because they realized that, or they're going to realize that all they've been is just pure entertainment for others. Mm-hmm. So people will keep mocking them, and it's not like anybody applauds these situations. It's just a mockery. That, and then there's gonna come to a time and a point where people are gonna be disinterested because it's getting boring and there's no other storyline.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
And then, lately, all you see on social media is just people arguing. Right. People having differences of opinions and then just kind of arguing, or trolling. And, that's all you really see nowadays. So at some point, people don't want to put themselves in that predicament where there's going to be that kind of, dynamic and response to things. You know what I mean?
And then I don't want to, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer or Karen, but I'm getting that by next year, this is all going to start fading away, because there is no authenticity anymore. People are literally just piggybacking off of the ideas of others and remaking videos and remaking things that are starting to become boring. So it's not like television, where television, you have so many channels and each channel has something new. So you get to pick and choose. No, because every time you go on social media, there is, for instance, I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say that there is a TikTok challenge of throwing water on yourself and sliding down the stairs, right? I'm not saying for somebody to do it.
Oh my God, did you hear, now that you're saying that, did you hear about the little girl that died doing a TikTok challenge?
No.
Okay, over the weekend, I saw an article where a young girl, I don't know, I think she was 8 or 9 years old, did what they call the blackout challenge on TikTok. And I don't know exactly what it is. I didn't research it long enough to know, but whatever it was dangerous, clearly, because it killed this little girl.
Oh.
Okay. So this is what I mean when, these challenges, and then there was another one. Do you remember the Kylie Jenner challenge when they put a a cup on their lips, and one girl ended up having to get surgery because she busted her lip vessels.
Yeah. And that's my point. That's the
Craziness.
point. By next year, it's gonna start, all that stuff is gonna start fading out, because it's just people having the, falling into the trend of doing the video, right? And it's like, how many times can you see the same damn thing with different people and it's still being winding up the same thing?
Yeah, it's a trending thing, and I do see that dwindling. Again, this had to do with quarantine. A lot of people entertained themselves with social media, with TikTok, because that was the only thing to do. You were stuck at home. So let's make a video, let's do a challenge. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody was confined to their quarters. You know what I mean? But now, like you said, that's not going to be the case anymore, as everything, as restrictions get lifted more and more, because they will. Yeah. You're going to see that things like that are not going to be as, popular as it was when, we were all in quarantine. And there's this couple that was actually on TikTok, I believe, or YouTube, but they did an experiment where they decided to have a whole summer. They reverted back to a summer in the 80s. Like they pretended that it was 1980 something, and that they decided to spend the whole summer as they did when they were children growing up in the 80s. Right. So no cell phone, no social media. They were out. It was really cute because they're outside, they're riding their bikes, and they had records, and they had like a vinyl player or a record player. They were playing on records. If they wanted to see a new movie, they went to the movie theater. They didn't stream it or anything like that. So they reverted back to the 80s. And like they would, do like a weekly blog of what they did and stuff, and they'll make like a little video snippet of all the stuff they did. Right. And they both agreed that they haven't had that much fun in years. Right. Going outside, not worrying about social media, not, they didn't, when they would go out, they wouldn't take their cell phones. Right. You're actually
enjoying your time, the real time that you have. And that's why I'm telling you that this season, that connection is coming back again. Yeah. People are gonna start waking up to the fact that they're not really enjoying themselves anymore without having a camera or an open platform to share with thousands of others who may or may not like it or have something to say because they have nothing better to do but to actually take 30 seconds of their life that they're not going to get back.
The whole influencer thing.
And so yeah, I think that this is the season where it all begins, and by next year it's going to die down to the point where if you got your stocks invested in these platforms, start pulling them out. They're gonna drop. Stop pulling them out.
Yeah. There's an article that I read right when everything started to shut down during COVID. It was from a online magazine called Politico. Yeah. I read it and I saved it because it was like the person who wrote it, it was their prediction on how the quarantine, how the shutdown is going to affect us mentally, emotionally, and, interacting as a human, as human beings. Right. And everything that this person wrote in the article is literally playing out. And he stated that he feels once everything starts reopening again, people are going to be so desperate for that organic connection. And that's what we've been talking about. It's going to be like a renaissance again of just people wanting to be out, People just wanting to not focus on, being on social media 24/7, but rather being outside and just breathing air without having to wear a mask or having to keep 6 feet away. Or, people are going to want that so badly that that's going to be the focal point. He said that he saw that being how things will play out, like once we reopen fully, because there is restrictions still as we speak, but once we fully open up again, it's just that's gonna be what it's like. So it makes perfect sense. I gotta find the article. I remember I saved it on my Google, and I'll share it below, but it was very insightful, and I felt it was a very smart article, and it made a lot of sense as to how from a psychological and a behavioral standpoint,
we're the way we're evolving,
yeah.
which it makes a lot of sense, and obviously it points out to the cycles of changes, and that's what I was telling you earlier. It's a cycle, and it evolves and it changes for the better or for the worse. And we're always striving to succeed for better.
Right.
So because we're able to interact more and go out again to concerts and recreational, activities, I want those people out there. Don't be annoyed or upset because you posted something and you didn't get the number of likes that you wanted or the number of views that you wanted. It's just that people are starting to enjoy life again.
Yeah. And that's what Leo is all about. Leo likes to be out and about. Leo likes to socialize. Leo likes to show up and show out.
And Libra season the same way too.
Yeah. So we're
active.
That's why Leos and Libras tend to be power couples.
Yeah.
They are very similar in that regard.
Yeah.
But Leos, because they're fire, it's like, and it's fixed fire. It's like that eternal flame that's constantly burning. Right. So, with that being said, overall, I feel like this season is really going to bring that out in us collectively to just be out there, or organically, not through here, not just through here, through social media and things like that, but physically out.
Or spending tons of money, because again, I don't see large spending. People are holding on to their money as best as they can.
Oh yeah.
Because of the economic uncertainties.
Right.
There are.
We also got Jupiter going into retrograde. So that is probably going to make people think twice about spending.
Oh,
so, yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that, but Jupiter is also going retrograde during this time. And another thing, like I said, this is a fixed energy, and Jupiter because Jupiter is going to go retrograde in Pisces, I believe. So, and it's going to retract back to Aquarius for a brief time, and it's going to be with Saturn. So, Saturn is all about restrictions and, limitations. So once it reverts back into, joining up with Saturn and Aquarius for a brief time, that's why people are going to be more inclined to want to save their nickels and dimes. Right. Plus, the summer and the vacation season is going to dwindle right now. School for a lot of places, I know here in my state, school starts in August.
Yeah, over here too.
Yeah, so it's people getting back to school and buying school supplies and school clothes and all that. So it's going to be more of a focus of pretty much getting back to work, back to school. Yeah.
Daily stuff.
Especially mid-August when Virgo season starts. But right now we're talking about Leo season. We'll do another video for Virgo season. Yeah. But as far as right now, it's just going to be a very big, collective urge to connect with our fellow man, connect on an intimate level organically.
Yes.
in person, in your face, up close and personal. So that's what I see and how I see this playing out for the next couple of weeks. So, I mean, I welcome it because I feel like, me personally, I like connecting with people on an organic level. Like, that's why I guess for the longest time, as long as I've been doing this, I could have had a bigger social media presence. But like I said, I feel more inclined to connect with people organically. So I'm glad that this is the dynamic and the energy, because I feel it's where I shine and where I feel the most comfortable. So I'm all for it. Even though I love my people online, I love y'all. We love our subscribers, our followers. We love you guys, our online family, of course. But, if I do prefer in person. So yes.
Yeah.
So this is the beautiful thing.
Plus the connection when we get to read people in person makes it so much easier to tune in faster too.
Oh, absolutely.
Tune in faster when you're seeing someone face to face. But we do the best we can here, like this.
Absolutely. That's all we can do, and that's why we're here, So I think that pretty much sums it up. Oh, and I wanted to tell you guys, again, to drop your comments and questions down below. And don't forget to type in "I subscribed" for a special message from us. And yeah. Also, I am working on my retrograde survival guide. It's an ebook. And it gives you the ins and outs of the retrogrades in each planet, and gives you a blow by blow of the energies, what to do, what not to do. So yeah, it's a must have, especially with all the retrogrades going on right now. So yeah, type in "I subscribed" down below, and we'll be giving you the information on the retrograde survival guide as well. And if you like and subscribe, you'll get a free copy.
Oh, wow.
So there goes the incentive and, the cheap plug. There it is. So.
And stay tuned for some of my little tidbit videos. I'll be posting soon also about, witchy rituals. I posted one last time with the, I think it was with the water.
Yeah.
Something like that. Anyway, then also the Spanish tarot readings are going to be coming out soon as well.
Yes, exciting.
Working on the editing on that. And so, yeah, like Chastity said, like, subscribe, and type, comment, subscribe, and you're definitely going to get a message from us. It could be anything from love reading to financial to anything.
Yes.
And you get that free e-copy. So,
I mean, you can't go wrong. I'm just saying. Can't go wrong. So that's the promotion, folks. If you want to take up on it, like, subscribe, drop your comments.
Go for it. Go for it. Okay.
So everybody, enjoy your Leo season.
Yes, enjoy your Leo season.
Get out there, because that's what Leo's about: getting out there, showing up and showing out, and above all, showing up for yourself.
And I'm a big advocate for spooning. So start spooning again.
Spooning. Get connected again. That leads to baby making. I'm just.
Not if
that's not the case, if that's not what you want, make sure you're protecting yourself, because spooning can lead to other things, if you catch my drift. So I'm just saying. I'm just keeping it real here. So yeah. With that being said, guys, enjoy your season. And again, we look forward to hearing from you. And until next week, peace out.
Adios. Have a good one.